What's going on, everyone? Matthew Osborne here with Avery Romer. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Thanks for coming on and doing this interview with me. So real quick, just give a rough background of kind of where you are, where you got started, and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so I started selling books about 2 years ago now, and really, I don't even consider I sold books like 4 years ago, but I was in college and I was just flipping my textbooks and my friends' textbooks, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But then I started making a decent amount of money when I was in college doing it, and then I really started. I think I downloaded FBA Scan. That was the only app around at the time before Scout IQ, and I was watching Reezy Resells videos, Caleb Roth, and I started going out to thrift stores, and I started making a decent amount of money doing that on the side. And then, I was coaching wrestling, and I don't know if you've ever coached a sport before, but like the pay is so bad. And I was making more money, selling these books. Like, I don't know, like 10 textbooks was like my paycheck for the whole wrestling season.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, there's a lot of potential in this, and went out to California, living in my car, and I was doing FBA along the way. So I was packing up these books and shipping them out to Amazon warehouse. And at one point, I was like, I could probably do this full time. And I think that was when I met Caleb and Reezy in person, and just saw like there was like 20 other people doing this full time. And that's when it really kicked off.
Awesome. Let's unpack that a little bit. So you said you started selling books on the side when you were coaching. How did you start selling books? Most people don't even think to sell books. Did you have a friend that started doing it, or?
No, because I was flipping books in college, but I didn't really know I didn't know about like the whole reseller community. I was just doing it because I knew textbooks were worth a lot. I knew the bookstore wouldn't give that much, and I knew I could sell them for more. But through doing FBA, there's like a little bit of a learning curve. I was watching Caleb's videos, I was watching Reezy's videos, and I always saw them, talking about, thrifting and going out. I was like, what the hell is that? And I tried it, and that's when I started making some extra money. But I didn't realize how hard some of these people were really going.
Yeah. So you were doing coaching and books at first. Did you right away when you saw the profits start deciding to take books full time?
No, I had a landscaping company before, and I was still kind of doing books. I don't even consider it was me doing books. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just going, I was using the Amazon seller app. I don't know, it wasn't even real. Because the only reason why I made money in college selling books is because textbooks are stupid expensive.
Yeah.
But wait, what was the question? When did I start really making money?
Well, no, when did you did you take it full time right away? Because you said you were coaching or making money when you started textbooks.
I kind of jumped into it, but no, I didn't take it full time immediately. I was doing the whole thrifting thing, and then I'm still in touch with the college I went to, and every semester I do a pretty big haul from there. But after wrestling season, I've always wanted to travel, and that's when I kind of went full time, I guess, because I took all the money that I had when I sold my landscaping company and went out and lived in my car. And if you would have asked me then if I was doing books full time, I probably wouldn't have said yes. I was doing it more for the experience, but through that experience, a couple things happened. I went to the first Turn the Page conference, which is where all these resellers get together. I went to a big Gary V thing in Denver, Tony Robbins. You probably heard about that.
Yeah. I think I actually remember you, because I met you at that Turn the Page conference. I think you were going there right after, or did you just come from there?
Yeah.
That first page conference?
Yeah, I think I was going there right after, and I can't even remember, man. I just remember I saw Gary V walking down the street in Beverly Hills. I actually saw him just sitting there. But yeah, a bunch of I don't know, just being around all that kind of changed my mind, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go full time in this. So I guess it was the only way I was making money. So I guess you could consider it full time, but now it's really how I'm paying my bills.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who don't know Avery, when I first met Avery, was at that first Turn the Page conference, and he made a big splash at that conference because everyone knew him as the guy that had the giant canoe on top of the small car. And you just go out front of the hotel and you see this car there, this giant canoe at the front window. And that's what everyone knew who Avery was. So he knows how to make an impression coming out to the conference.
Pull up in style.
So was that pretty big for you then, coming out to that conference and seeing everyone that's actually doing it?
That's what did it.
It opened your eyes to what the potential was?
Yeah, 100%. Just seeing like, wow. And I met there's a girl named Heidi. I sat in between Caleb Roth and Heidi. And at the time, it was a big deal to me to sit next to Caleb because it was just like, he was just like the dude I learned everything from online. Like I watched so many videos of him. And I don't know if you've experienced, I mean, you probably have, going to these conferences, meeting Reezy and stuff. It's like seeing someone that was like inside a screen, like just pop out. I don't know. It just feels like you're meeting someone really famous.
On the screen, then you see him in person. It's a little weird, especially when you see Reezy and you think he's going to be like way up there.
Yeah, I thought Caleb was gonna. I always tell Caleb this. I always thought he was going to be like way shorter, and I thought Reezy was going to be way taller. And Caleb always
Caleb's gotten that comment a couple times.
Yeah,
shorter. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
You did this road trip then. I think you were kind of really started the road trip after that conference, and that was like one of your first stops, wasn't it, in your road trip?
Yeah. So that was about a month or two. It was about halfway, I'd say. California was like really the first big destination because I kind of skipped the boring stuff because I live in Nashville, so I was going through Arkansas and then Oklahoma. I kind of breezed through that and then slowed down in New Mexico, Arizona, went to Grand Canyon, went to Vegas by myself, which was pretty lame. Vegas the second time with you guys was way funner. And then I had a buddy that lived in LA, and I kind of like stopped living in my car for like 2 weeks. And it was nice having a bed to sleep on. And that's when I was like $250. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go meet. I'm like, I'm out here. Why not? You know? And I mean, it changed my life. It really did, because I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't like actually see people really making a living from it.
Yeah. Was it pretty successful for you then, selling out of your car? I know a lot of people that, especially ones that are currently listing and selling on Amazon, it's not exactly clear how you would list and be able to sell from your car, considering like a giant.
Yeah, I'd say it was definitely successful. Like I definitely made way more money than I spent. I wasn't spending that much money. I was living in my car. And but yeah, my main expenses were like, I was looking at my this is back before I even separated business from personal. Like I was like, what the hell am I spending all my money on? It was at Goodwill's, on books and libraries. You know, that's where I was spending most of my money on this trip. And then I was spending it on food and gas, obviously. But yeah.
Was there a point then from that first kind of conference where your eyes opened, you knew what was kind of possible, to now where you almost gave it up, where you thought maybe this isn't going to work for me? Or have you kind of always just had that motivation from the get-go?
I guess like, I don't know, the conference like did open my eyes. It was just like, wow, like people are actually really doing this, you know? And people are doing it like 10 different ways. Like I said, I walked in, Heidi was a girl next to me, and then Caleb Roth is here. And they're both doing like lots of online arbitrage, you know, buying online, selling online. And then there's Reezy, he's got it set up to where it's, you know, he's got some guy that runs his route for him now. And then there's like Greg Murphy. I didn't even know who Greg Murphy was. Like, who the hell is this guy? And he's getting bulk books, you know, Gaylords. And then there's, I don't know, there's people just doing it like, and then there's me just traveling around doing it. But it was inspiring just seeing like everyone's selling books, but they're all doing it different ways, and they're all alive, they're all breathing, and it's like, okay, they're making a living off of this, you know. It's really cool.
So you kind of knew from that point there's some way you could figure this out too. It kind of gave you that motivation to keep going, as you knew all these people could do it some ways.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't know it before I went to that conference, but I don't know, just seeing people in person really just kind of changed my thought process.
Yeah. So it seems like you, from the very beginning, started paying people to scout from you and also paying people to list for you a lot sooner than most people. And so what made you want to start paying other people to do it for you? And was it working at first, or did it take a while to get that system kind of dialed down to where it was actually profitable for you to do that?
It definitely took a while to get the system down, but I think I hired my first lister after the second turn the page in Phoenix, because everyone there, it seemed like there's a lot of bulk sellers there.
There were more in Phoenix. There's definitely more in Phoenix than there was in the LA.
And like no one there was listing their own books. I was just like, oh shit, I don't need to be listing my books. And that's when I kind of did the math, because I'm like a speed guy. Like I like to eliminate like unnecessary time. Like I just feel like I'm wasting my time if I'm sitting there labeling books and doing all that. So I would just ship them directly to Amazon from my car. I wouldn't label them. I wouldn't sit in a Starbucks.
Amazon to label them. We're also paying for like inventory placement and stuff as well.
I didn't even know about inventory placement until recently. I've implemented that. I do now. If I'm on the road and I'm doing a big shipment, yeah, I'll do inventory placement. But back then I didn't even know about it. I would just use a holding area on Accelerlist. So if it was like 3 items going somewhere else, I would just take them and put them back in my car, which sucked. So the way I looked at it when I was back home and I was stationary, I was like, if I can pay someone, because there's a 20 cents fee that I'm paying Amazon to label. And then box contents, which I mean, technically I was doing the 1 box method. So that was eliminated. So that wasn't really a fee, but in my mind, I like to act like it was. So 30 cents a book is what I would be paying Amazon if I wanted them to do it absolutely as fast as possible. Which comes out to, if someone can do 40 books in 1 hour, that's equivalent. And if they can do 40 books in an hour and label and do box contents, that's comes out to 30 cents a book, if that makes sense. So yeah. I kind of talked myself into it that way. I was like, all right, I'm going to start labeling these books, because I wasn't really doing it myself, but I'm going to invest in a dymo and teach someone else how to do it, and I'll make that money back, and I won't have to pack the books. So
how did you go about finding someone, and were you paying up front out of your own pocket when you first started, I'm guessing?
Yeah. And I found them on we had a little Facebook group, which treated me really well for my landscaping business. I would get most of my leads from that Facebook group. I would go on there, like post, hey, we just cut so-and-so's yard. Does anyone else need yard cutting? And we get all kinds of leads. It wasn't really the same with the book business. Like, I don't know. I guess it's like a newer neighborhood. People don't have just books piled up. Didn't get a bunch of leads from it that way. But then I posted, I need help with my business. And I had like 3 20-year-old kids that weren't worth a damn apply. And then this mom, she wanted to help out. She actually helped out because her kid was like in school or something, but she's actually like my, not full-time worker, but she's like my OG lister mom. And I kind of stole that idea from Caleb as well. Cause he's got a lot of moms that help him pack. So yeah, I just went on the Facebook group, and actually recently I hired a different mom because this mom was too busy. So, and that's kind of how I plan on scaling this whole thing, because now I have a storage unit, and then the listers actually pull up directly to the storage unit, take out the books, and go back to their house. So I think I can scale this by getting a bunch of part-time workers, just a bunch of part-time moms all in that one neighborhood.
So when you have them list for you, specifically this first person you're having list for you, did you just drop off the books and they took everything from there? Or
no, I had like a Gaylord in my parents' garage, and I started so the lister would come over and she would list while I was in there doing whatever. Like maybe I was organizing something, or maybe I was listing too. And Accelerlist, that has a learning curve too. So she would be like, what does this error mean? Why isn't this going through? And I would just help her out with that. So.
Are you glad you started doing that as soon as you did, or do you wish?
Yeah, 100%. Because it gives me more time to source.
Yeah, well, definitely. If you have someone listing for you, it's going to give you more time to source. So let's talk about goals. Like, you're a big goal guy. You like setting goals, and you've recently started like a 75-day challenge and a few other things.
Yeah.
So how do goals kind of play into this for you? Do you set a weekly goal? I know we have something called the 100-book challenge. We recommend people to set a weekly goal, but I think you have like a monthly goal of how many books you want to scout.
Yeah,
Right?
the monthly goal has been 1,000. That needs to go up. But my yearly goal is 500,000 in sales. I think I'm at like 70 something right now for the year, which is way low. But I feel like I've been like, because the thing is, I don't want to like slow myself down by having like a weekly goal to where if my weekly goal is, that's 250 books a week, right? Because that's 1,000 a month. Most months it ends up being like 3 books one week, 7 books the next, and then like the next week's like 800 because of the previous work and networking that I did the weeks before. So I like to kind of like look in the future 500 and then think, okay, what do I actually need to do today to reach that, and not really get too bogged down in a weekly goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you have your kind of overarching goal of 500,000 in total revenue, and then you figured out how much your average profit is or how much your average sale is per book, and you've broken that down. To hit that goal from this point forward, you have to do 1,000 a month is what you're doing, right?
No, 1,000 a month. If everything's sold through, I think it comes out to like 250,000 in sales.
That's what you're saying. That goal, I hit that.
Yeah. So I need to go way higher. But I mean, there's also textbook season, and I plan on doing a lot of e-flip. So this textbook season is going to be like, I mean, for most booksellers, textbook season is like way higher anyway. So I've been prepping a lot for that. I guess I just don't want to get caught up in a thrift store the whole time when I could be, finding more sources and, putting more systems in place. Like, my storage unit's right next to McKay's, and I can get someone bringing books to McKay's, and then my listers can come in and take the books out, like things like, because that's scalable versus me just working my tail off scanning. It's like Greg Murphy. He said, only do what only you can do.
I think you have a good point there. I think it really depends on what type of sourcing you're doing and also where you kind of are in your journey. Because if you're just starting out and you're just going to thrift stores, then setting a weekly goal might be very reasonable. But if you're doing these bulk arrangements, you're trying to find these sources where you're getting all these books at once, then a weekly goal, like you said, doesn't make a lot of sense if it's going to be a couple weeks and a ton.
Well, even if it's just putting systems in place, like, maybe I won't get as many books this week because I'm training my friend how to get books at the thrift store. And now he can go in, but that's going to pay off in the next 20 weeks because he'll be in there getting books for me the whole time. So it was worth the initial effort.
So it might be a little bit overwhelming for people just listening to this that are just starting or maybe just wanting to get started because they're hearing about hiring scouts and finding these arrangements where you're getting all these books and the storage unit and stuff. What would you say to people that are just starting out? What's the easiest recommendation? Because I know you get these questions all the time on social media, and we can dive into social media in a second. But what are your normal tips to people just starting out to not be overwhelmed, but also get their foot in the door and get started?
I'd say get books that are actually going to make you money. And I think if capital is an issue, this is something I wish I would have known, because it would have saved me a lot of time and space in my cars. I think it's a really bad idea to go out and buy super cheap books, because let's say you want to go hard and source like 200 books a week. Well, assuming you're getting the books for $1 a piece, it's $200. It's $200 you're not going to see for at least a couple weeks, So if instead you only spent $50 on like the highest quality books, whatever that is to you, I said a $4 floor profit. And make sure the books are going to sell too. Like don't get a bunch of long tail books starting out if capital is an issue. And then, you're going to be doing less work. You're going to have more time to source better books because you're not going to be your time's not going to be, bogged down just listing the things, trying to figure all that out. Because if instead you got 50 high quality books, that's way better than 200, crappy books. And now all your money's gone.
So people are low on capital and low on time. You're talking about more focusing on the quality of each individual book rather than just trying to get as much as you can.
Yeah. I think it looks good for Instagram to have a bunch of books, but if you really if you separated, if you could literally put 25% of the books in one pile and say, hey, look, this is where 90% of your profit's coming from, you'd feel kind of silly for spending the rest of the money on those books and the time listing them, especially as a one-man army. Maybe it's a different thing once you have systems in place and you get books and they're just listed immediately because you've smoothed out these systems. It's like, well, yeah, put more books in, ship them out. But I feel like starting out, and maybe even like where I am now, sometimes I consider why am I getting these? Because right now my storage unit's filled with books that need to be listed. So I'm just like, how many dollar profit books are in there? Really?
So I think you hit an important point. A lot of people, it sounds like it was probably for you when you first started too, is capital is a big issue, of course. If you're trying to list books to make money, obviously you're not going to probably be rolling in the dough at the moment if you're trying to go out and start a business and list some books to make some money. So for the people that are lower on capital, it can be a little overwhelming thinking about a printer and Accelerlist and Scout IQ and all the different expenses that go with it. What kind of tools did you have when you got started, and when did you decide to start kind of upgrading some of those nicer tools? I know you said you got a printer at one point in time to make it smoother.
Yeah.
But what did you have? Besides, I know you said FBA scan was the first tool you had, right?
Yeah, technically Amazon Seller app was the first one. I almost quit because I went in the store and it took me 5 minutes to scan one shelf, and I was like, I can't believe people do this. I didn't find one book, and I was like, I'm going home. I kind of give a lot of people don't give this advice, but I think starting out you should have a Bluetooth scanner, just because you can go so fast. And I think a Bluetooth scanner and a scouting app, I think those two things will pay for themselves in a day. There's a scanner called the Notamu Mini, and it's $60 Prime on Amazon, brand new. I got the KDC at the very beginning. I paid $150, $200 for it. This is half the price, Prime shipped. It's it works fine. But I think in one day, and Scout IQ is a 14-day free trial. So in one day, you can literally go out. You could go out with the Amazon Seller app, or you could go out with Scout IQ and a scanner. I feel like if you go out with Scout IQ and a scanner, you're gonna make way more in that day, and it's gonna be worth it just because of that.
No, I completely agree with you. The scanner really does make a difference. The funny thing is, if you just start out using your phone, it'll work, and you'll think it's really, really fast until you use a scanner, and then you'll never go back and just use your phone again. I don't know if you've done it, but if I ever go out and I don't have my scanner, I almost just want to go back home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just very, very and that's just one of those scenarios where it's if you went back home, maybe the books won't be there when you come back.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that is good. I think it's important when you're starting out to set yourself up for success. And if a normal accept rate's 3%, 4%, if you scan 100 books, you're going to take home 4. Might as well scan as many as possible.
Yeah.
Take as many as you can home rather than doing it super slowly and, like you said, getting discouraged when you scan a whole shelf and get nothing, right?
Yeah, a lot of people will be like, I went out today and it didn't get any books, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how many books did you scan? And they'll send me, I'll be like, how do I check? And I'll be like, swipe right, because I think both apps have that now. Scoutly and Scout IQ have that, where if you swipe right, it shows the number of scans, and they have 800 scans. I'm like, dude, go scan 8,000 or and I think that's what it really comes down to, because if you only have if you went out and you only have 80 scans for the day, and if that took you 2 hours, you got to scan faster. That's your issue.
And the Bluetooth is the best way to do that, right?
Yeah, I 100% think so.
People starting out, you recommend definitely a free trial of a scouting app and then investing in a scanner. I think one cool thing for beginners that maybe a scanner seems like a lot of money, especially if you look at the OPN 2002 and stuff for $150. But the really cool thing about Bluetooth scanners is they maintain their value super well. So if you go out and buy a $150 scanner, that money's not gone. If you decide to quit next week, you can sell that scanner almost guaranteed for what you bought it for. An OPN or a KDC or something like that.
Even the Notamu, someone was selling it for $53. So I guess
exactly. They maintain their value, and they're tough to find. So if you find one and you buy it, that's not money that's gone. If you decide to quit, let's say you just sell that thing back, and you'll sell it for pretty much what you bought it for.
Yeah, at one point I had like 6 or 7 of them, and once I found out about the Nadamu, it was like an investment because I had all the Opticons and KDCs, and I was like, well, I'm going to sell all these, and I sold them for pretty good profit. You know, I think I actually made money on some.
Oh, definitely. They're tough to find, so you can definitely make money selling. Caleb, when he finds a good stash, and buys them and sells them back because he knows how much they're worth.
Yeah.
So recently, you've had a huge push in social media. You went from not seeing very much of you on social media to all of a sudden, I see you all over the place in social media. What made you want to start tackling social media? And for the people not maybe familiar with Avery watching this, he's posting specifically about selling on Amazon and selling books, and that's his main content. Well, so what made you want to do that, invest all this time into doing social media?
I don't think I've invested much more time than I did a year ago, honestly. Like I was always posting a lot. Last year it was more geared towards my travels. You know, I just post a lot on social media. But it's connected me with so many people. I actually just I was looking in my spam folder before this interview to see if your Google Hangouts invite went to my spam, and I got like a couple book leads.
That's really cool.
From Instagram, and they were in my spam, and I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I checked that. Yeah, I actually get like real book leads, like from people that aren't resell. I get book leads from people that are resellers and people that aren't resellers, people that just watch my content and they're like, oh, maybe they sell toys, but they're like, Avery's a book guy. I just came across 100 textbooks. So getting books from social media, and even like my friends and students and stuff, that's been good. Meeting really smart people through social media has also been good. I've actually stayed at people's houses from Instagram, because now people know me, and I'll be like up in New England and they're like, hey Romer, come over to my house. And of course I check their profile out first, but
if they're not too sketchy.
Yeah, if they're not too, there are some sketch balls out there.
So I like that a lot of sellers seem to be really, really private with what they're doing and not want to share with anyone. You seem to be the opposite and sharing so much with people. So you've seen that, it sounds like, definitely come back to you in the form of deals, finding textbooks, finding even places.
100%. Yeah. And then even affiliate money too. Like, let's be honest, like there's affiliate money in there, but it's tools I'm using. So like, why not get paid for sharing about it? And yeah, it's like Caleb and Reezy are really who I learned from, and they gave all of it away for free. So I feel like I should do the same.
Nice. So do you think that social media has also helped you stay consistent? That's one thing I noticed when I did like the challenge a while ago, is that posting every single week and people following along made me stay a lot more consistent than I probably would have if I wasn't telling people about what I was doing.
Yeah. Like when you post something, it kind of makes it like, oh shit, I just said that. Let's go get to work now. You know, like I just said I was going to do this, and you know, X amount of people saw it, so now it's time to get the work done. Sometimes I'll post stuff just to motivate myself. I'll be like, I'm about to go do this, and I'm like, fuck, I'm actually about to go do it. I guess I am now. Like, I just said it.
I'm stuck. But you posted your yearly goal. I saw that and stuff like that. So that's something I think that's super motivating for you to put that out there for other people to see your goal, but also for you to know that you're kind of locked into that a little bit now.
Yeah.
Broadcasted that, and I'm sure when you wake up and maybe don't want to do something, that might be a little bit of an extra push for you.
Yeah, 100% is. Yeah, like last night I was actually kind of having trouble sleeping. I was had to like wake up and like write out my business plan and make sure everything was smooth with it, because I was like, shit, I said I'm gonna do this, and like I was just laying there like I have a lot of work to do, you know. So it definitely it's a push. I'll put it that way.
So you have a business plan. You kind of written out a little bit step by step, kind of what you think you're going to have to do to be able to accomplish your goal in the time frame you said. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
Yeah.
Exactly. Is that making more systems around it? Is that a lot of what that entails?
A little bit of it's systems. I mean, a lot of it's just sourcing where other people aren't, and then doing a lot of it's just knowing what I knowing what already works and doing that and getting other people to do it for me. So I have a friend that's going to be living with me, Fritz. You probably saw some pictures of him. He's from Haiti. And he's going to be doing basically what I was doing in Nashville. He's going to be taking my place. So kind of like the Reezy route of having someone, run your route for you. He's going to be doing that. And then I can focus on building up the other systems in place. I mean, systems like Caleb says, like systems are just, once you get them in place, it's feeding it more books. So my job for the rest of the year is just going to be finding books, and like building a team around finding books.
Yeah, because your time,
and even like online, like I've gotten so many books from Instagram. It's crazy, like shipped directly to my lister's house. And I'm just like, that kind of keeps me up at night, because I'm like, maybe, because I've always kind of, and feel free, anyone who is listening to steal this idea, I've always wanted to like provide a service for students to like sell their books for them. But I just don't know if students would trust me or not. Like have a website revolving around like you will actually take their books, sell them for them on Amazon, and do like a 50-50 split or something. And that's kind of what's happened with resellers and me selling their restricted inventory. Is I'll wake up and I'll have like 38 books at my apartment complex, and that's such a cool feeling.
Let's talk about that for a second. I'll link to your Facebook group in the description below.
Okay, appreciate that.
So what is that arrangement you're making with people, and how are you able to sell restricted textbooks right now that a lot of people aren't able to?
Fingers crossed. I don't know. Amazon algorithm never gated me. So, I mean, we're just doing, we're starting to implement, you weren't at Murphy's event, but this one guy, Michael, he was talking about how he really looks for counterfeit books. So we just got to make sure we're not sending in any counterfeit textbooks, anything that looks sketchy. So, which is kind of tough too, because now you got to tell the reseller like, hey, we couldn't sell your book because it's fake, So,
have you had to do that already?
Yeah. It actually happened the other day. I just opened one up out of curiosity, and it was a weird looking book. It was one of those, I'm sure you've seen this before, where like the bottom is covered with like black tape. I think it was an instructor's edition that they were trying to cover up. But I'm definitely going to start implementing like vigorous checks for textbooks.
So if someone has restricted textbooks and they want to sell them, what's the best way to contact you, and what's their split you're going to do with them?
It's a 50-50 split. They can contact me at romermartinllc@gmail.com or any social media. Romer the Romer, Instagram, Romer the Romer, YouTube, Romer the Romer, now on Facebook, and Romer the Romer seller community on Facebook. So I'm all over the place.
So you can pretty much find them wherever and give them those textbooks if you want those to be sold.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing the interview with me. Do you have any last minute tips or anything you want to share with people just starting out? They're trying to get started.
Yeah, I mean, just find as many books as possible. Find a system to ship them out, and don't think too much. The good thing about Scout IQ is that it makes the decision for you. And the good thing about books is they're really cheap. So it's really hard to screw up because Scout IQ, it takes into consideration demand and price. So if you just, if you go out with default triggers and like a buy cost of $1.50 and just pull 100 books, and you spend $100 on those books and ship them in, guarantee you're going to make profit. Like there's no way you're not.
So just take the plunge, get started, get a free trial, get something cheap, and go out and just find books.
Exactly. That's what I recommend.
I'll link to all your social channels in the description below, and reach out to him if you guys have textbooks want to sell them. You also have a new Facebook group. Tell us just real quickly about that.
Romer the Romer seller community. Yeah, we just go on there and we talk about everything books. I guess you can talk about other things in there, but we keep it mostly books.
Nice. I'll link to that Facebook group in the comments below. So thanks, Avery, for being here today.
Appreciate you, Matt.